have to be more sensitive to men's egos than men are to women's emotions.
I think she might be saying that to me because I said the ego thing. So you know what? I'm taking that one. Listen, this is the thing, and I'm happy that you even brought it up. If we had men on here, so I'm a man. I coach men, so I do what Toy do, but I do it for guys. And but right now we're just talking to ladies, so I'm giving you the view from what this panel is about, right?
Absolutely.
But by no means do I feel that women are to do all this heavy lifting about protecting a man's ego. I'm actually harder on men for creating environments to where women actually feel free enough to be able to have discussions around the stuff that you guys are actually lacking, right? So all this stuff that you guys are talking about, I would go right on a men's panel. I mean, a panel where we're talking to men. And then I would say, hey, fellas, we're doing a very poor job at creating an environment in our homes where our wives feel like they can't talk to us and tell us the truth. We want to be the big bad, I'm so strong, I'm all of this, but we can't take truth. I think that you're a punk, right? So I think that as men, we become punks because you want to be the big bad man and all the authority. You want to run everything, and I got everything. But when a woman come and say, bro, you can't handle no cash, then you want to get all wimpy. No, you got to create this environment where people can feel safe. Your kids should feel safe. Your wife should feel safe to be able to come to you and say, hey, 1, 2, and 3. And you got to be a grown man to be able to say, okay, I got to change some things that I'm doing here. So don't think that I'm coming and it's only a one way with me. It's definitely, you guys actually, in my book, are given way more grace in the area than men are, because God expects us to be the leaders of our home. And and the request is that we love our wives the way that he loves the church. And that's a whole nother thing, but that is the pinnacle piece, right? The way that we love you guys, it plays a big part on you guys being able to respond the way that we're talking to you to respond to us. We do play an extreme major part in creating that so that you can feel free to do and say all the great things that all the men on here are giving, all this wisdom and stuff. Yeah, it only works if the man can actually create something for you to feel like you can actually tell the stuff, because I know you can leave right off here and say, man, that was great stuff, right? But my husband don't ever want to hear this stuff. See, he just hasn't created an environment where you can go and talk. Remember, we're trying to become one. So somebody's got to create an environment for this, right? Somebody's got to be able to create it. And God's looking for men to be able to create an environment where people feel free enough to be themselves, to be able to grow, et cetera, et cetera.
Hey, so thank you. Wait a minute. I need to make this statement real quick. We are past the time. If you need to leave, no. If you need to leave, I understand. If any of my coaches need to leave, I understand. We're going to keep moving because I want to get some of these questions answered. Okay. Go ahead and make your statement. And then we have some questions in the chat room that I want Julie to be prepared to ask, because we have a few people asking questions. Go ahead. Apostle, I think you were about to say something.
Yeah. I would say too, this is going to be, I ain't gonna say pushback, but this is just going to be my narrative. When you're dealing with a younger generation, you're not dealing with people who can handle a lot of that. A lot of men who are in their 30s and 40s, I mean, a lot of these guys can't handle a woman being that transparent. And let's balance this. A lot of women who are in their 20s and 30s don't always have the best approach. So they're very candid. They're very rude. They don't know how to be, reserved and say it in the right space. I mean, this whole clapback cancel generation, that's what they do. They will air you out on stage. So let's be, and I'm sorry, y'all. That's the generation I deal with. I'm in that generation. So here's what I'm going to say. If we're talking generationally, you're talking about if you're in your 40s, mid 40s, 30s, I'm going to tell you approach is everything. I'm going to have a big ego, but if you need me to come down on something, approach me right. Don't come air me out in front of my friends. Don't clap back on me on social media. Please do not tell Facebook all of our business, right? Like, guard my heart. And then this goes back to what he said. I can trust you because you're a safe space. For a lot of men, especially in this generation, women are not safe. Neither are men, right? You got men that talk as much as women, right? So we have to have a culture, yes, that creates a safe place for men to be able to receive that. But also as a woman, yes, a lot of men do. I'm just telling you, we have a hypersensitive culture. We do. That's the reality. We have a hypersensitive culture. Social media has done a lot with that, and church has played a lot into this too, because we got this concept, Jesus loves every. So now you create a culture where, oh, well, you know, since God loves everybody, you know, and then when you say something that isn't quote unquote loving, people take it as, well, you don't love me because you're telling me about myself. When actually the epitome of love is confrontation. The epitome of love is correction. Right? If I love you, I'm going to correct you. But I'm just telling you, a lot of guys are not, I'm going to say for my generation, a lot of guys are not really ready for that. And if you're going to do it, make sure your approach is on point. Don't be doing stuff that's really going to put that man out there. So I'm sorry. I know what he said. I agree with what he's saying, but there is a culture. I hate to say this. There's a culture that is hypersensitive. They are really are. And ego is everything to them. Yeah. And I'm not saying that you can't say things, but I'm saying also realize who you're dealing with. They are hypersensitive, and you want to make sure that when you come for their ego, you're doing it in a way that keeps their dignity and their integrity. When I'm in not even in sessions, when I'm talking to men, there are certain things. If I'm in a counseling session, I will never say in front of that woman, even though she's right. I won't agree with her in front of that man because I need to win him. Women, I hate to say this, women, we can win you with, you know, we go the right way, we got you. The men are harder to reach. If I agree with that woman in that session, I can lose that man. I'm just not willing to do that because he's the one I got to get in the fight. So I always keep men's integrity and their dignity intact, no matter what the situation. And if I do that as a man, I don't understand why women wouldn't understand to do that as well. And I know that may not be what's being said, but I just want to kind of cover maybe those gray areas. So that's my contribution.
And I want to say this, that when we, you know, all of these men assist me in marriage coaching. And there are times when we've been in marriage coaching where we had to separate the husband and wife. And I had to pull her to the side and have a private Zoom call. And the male coach had to have a private Zoom call because it had got really nasty. And I can see where the wife was cold-blooded and the husband was just really neglectful. So in order to properly correct them, we had to separate them because what I needed to say to her, I didn't want him to hear. And what he needed to say to him, we didn't want her to hear because sometimes they need, and that's wisdom. We need to correct. So here's the thing. You need to accept this, that we always have to be careful with this mouth. I don't care if you're a woman or a man. We all are supposed to be careful. God said, do not get weary in your well-doing. He said, a soft answer turns away wrath. God has been telling us how we got to learn how to talk right. We got to learn self-control and discipline. Telling it straight like it is, keeping it real. No, you keeping it disrespectful. And so we got to get out of that worldly spirit that we have attached ourselves to because the world keeps telling us to keep it real. Oh, that's real. Oh, we just saying it straight. No. You say it righteous, you keep it righteous, you keep it respectful, you keep it holy, you keep it honorable. I got a question for you. Wait a minute, Julie, go ahead.
Like Apostle was saying too, we have to be able to take correction if we're wrong about something. The problem with a lot of relationships today is we always have to be right. We never want to be wrong. And so when you're telling me about something that you have a problem with, I'll invent something else to combat with what you're talking about so that we can get off topic and I can prove you wrong. Because I don't want to be proven wrong. I don't want to be told that I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. So I'll say, well, last year when your mother slid down the stairs and you made me help her, I hurt my back. Well, what's that got to do with you being upset with me because I didn't do something for you today? but because I want to be right in this, it becomes a challenge now. Mm-hmm. And we should know that the person you could be with this person for 20 years. You know that this person loves you to death, right? Got mad love for you. But as soon as this person tells you he's got a problem with you, they don't love you no more, and it's a battle.
Right. And so you compartmentalize your conversations. I know that Ron and LaShawn do a really good exercise teaching you how to focus on that person's issues and resolve that first. And then if you have an issue, you're next on the list, but we don't mix the two. So you listen, I'm coming to you about an issue. I don't want to hear about what I did. I don't want nothing. I want you to deal with what I'm bringing you. And then if you have a problem with me, once we solve this, then we'll go to your issue, to your area. That's a healthy way of communicating where you're not even using revenge to bring up, or you're getting even. And sometimes you really need to set your issue aside to make sure you're not being combative. Well, since you brought that up, I'm bringing that up. You have to be careful with that. Julie, I want you to share with me. Someone said that they didn't get a question answered in the comments. Can you go ahead and does anyone here take insurance? I know I am not set up to take insurance from someone for counseling, but I know that Ron and LaShawn, which you can contact my office to book Ron and LaShawn if you want to book them. You can surely do that. You guys accept insurance, right, Ron? Okay.
Yes.
So anyone else self-insurance for marriage coaching or wife coaching or anything like that?
Counseling.
Okay. All right. So Ron and LaShawn does that, and they are great at what they do. They do a boot camp every year, which is absolutely amazing. I know they was just out of the country right now we were a little jealous. That's by the way.
Don't go out of the country and tell nobody.
We should have been with y'all.
Little pictures on Facebook.
I'm sorry.
Stay on Facebook. The fossil just said stay on Facebook.
Right. So that question was answered. Julie, is there another question? I don't want to neglect the ladies that are here.
I think I've sent you every question. I've gone through and I've sent you everyone that I've seen.
Okay, so if I'm not reading the chat, if you're sending something to me, I'm not reading it. Can you read it for me? Anything that I missed?
Oh, just a minute. Let me go back.
Do me a favor, gather those questions.
I have a woman who sent a question anonymously. She is 9 months pregnant. Oh, wait a minute. That was okay. She'd been laid off twice during the pandemic. I've always been independent. My husband has an issue with me not working. However, this is beyond my control. I am also 9 months pregnant and not sure how I can help our marriage right now. I do plan on obtaining my real estate license in the future, but what can I do in the meantime?
Repeat that one more time for me.
Yeah, it's kind of complicated. A woman has been laid off twice since the pandemic. She has always been independent, and her husband now has an issue with her not working. But she is not, that is out of her control, and she is 9 months pregnant. She is not sure how she can help her marriage right now, but is planning to obtain a real estate license in the future. What suggestions do you have for now?
Take note. You got to really listen to questions sometimes. Take note what she said in the beginning. I came in independent. So that means I've been making money all my life. My husband saw me even before I married him. I was making money. And when I got into this marriage, I've been making money. But now my well has dried up because of the pandemic. I'm forced to be laid off because they laid me off. And on top of that, I'm pregnant. So I want you to hear what she really is saying. Okay, because that's what I hear, that husband was probably used to that income. He was probably used to the amount of money that she was making and probably was like, shoot, I hit the lottery on this one. I don't know, but that's what I hear. I could be wrong. Go ahead, guys. Who wants to chime in on that?
Well, number one, that what is a financial issue with that, because coming in with doing the money or making money, however she was doing it, they never had that real discussion about far as like bringing stuff together again. And now since she's pregnant and the husband is getting frustrated, this is where they got to have a serious sit down conversation and say, hey, listen, I understand I was doing X, Y, Z at the beginning, Right now, I'm pregnant. I just ask that you just have a little respect. Just show me, help me, because it still had to be a dialogue. It still had to be communication to talk about that. And a lot of couples that we deal with go through the exact same thing. They had that independent, going on, but they never ever talk about the stuff or bring things together like they're supposed to. Even like I use for an example, like our millenniums now, they'll come in, it's like they'll come in, this is my money, this is your money. This is what we're gonna do, this is what I'm gonna do. And they never ever have that true conversation of how to, and the thing that I love to do and talking, I know it's probably too late for you right now, but we tell every couple before they get married to at least have a year's salary in the bank, if not 6 months. So when situations like this do happen, guess what? You got money to fall back upon that will still contribute to those bills. So I like to say it may be too late now, but right now, have the serious discussion with them.
And you don't know if this is the kind of relationship where she was making more money. If she was making more money and she was letting him know that she was making more money, and now she's not making any money, that could be an issue.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this would be my thing is that, and I hear you guys, and I'm gonna be how pastor was up there, Kingdom over there, a little pushback, okay, because I have a problem. The woman got forced through COVID to have to be laid off, and the woman is 9 months pregnant. And this is the part I'm talking about, how men don't create environments. I'm not understanding, and maybe I'm just not getting it, but I don't understand why this is an issue for a man of a house. I don't care what she was making, and I don't care what she was bringing to the table. But for this to be an issue, and this kind of just goes what Pastor was saying about this millennial situation, right? And the thing is that, and you really wasn't even pushing back, and it's just the truth. But what I found out is that this is why Toy Bank Satisfied Wife Club exists, right? This is why it exists. This is why the Manology Project podcast and mentoring exists, is because people have no idea how to become one. There's every home right now, the statistics show you that there's 80% of homes are being ran without a father in the home. So men are being raised as hypersensitive men because you're being raised by women who by nature are hypersensitive the way that God created them. They're created that way. And then we as men create this environment that actually offsets and supposed to balance. We're supposed to offset each other. Like God, there's no way God put the man and the woman together and now all of a sudden it just can't work. We don't know what to do. I don't know. A man and a woman have opposite of everything because we're actually supposed to. This is how we should be fitting. We're supposed to offset each other. She's over the top on her emotions. Most men, he don't show no emotion, right? Because he doesn't. But then if you keep on working together and building that teamwork and the communication, he's going to talk a little bit more. He's not going to be a chatty catty, but he's going to talk a little bit more. And eventually her emotions go down. So when I look at a situation like this is just a dude that just didn't have any guidance coming up. So there was no one to tell him that, listen, as a man, you should always be putting yourself in a position from the beginning to be able to take care of a family anyway. Like me and my wife makes all kind of money, man. This woman does all, and Toy, no, right? So my wife is a monster of a woman. But at the end of the day, dude, we live and we've said and communicated our life around, if she quit today, dude, I can still pay for everything. So we're not living above our means to where it's going to actually be, and she makes a bunch of money and we do a lot of stuff with her money. But if she quit her job, dude, we're not going to go under. We're not going to lose our house. And that's me. That's me saying that, hey man, we got all this money coming in here, but this is where we're going to live. Because if you ever say that you don't want to work anymore, then I want us to be able to still keep our 2 cars. I want my daughter to still be able to go to private school. It's a certain thing that we have in our life that I want to be able to keep up. So we can't go building our life off of what we make as a team and then try to live at that caliber. Because listen, if your wife do if your wife lose her job or something like that, you are going to be an angry man. And you're not really angry at her. You're angry at yourself because you didn't position yourself correctly. So see, that's what I take away from this is just a man that is angry because basically he never positioned himself correctly for her to be able to come in and out. She's 9 months pregnant. I'm sorry, but I have a big problem with you having an issue with a woman that's 9 months pregnant and who was forced to be able to work because of the pandemic. We do have to just do better as men. We're not getting taught right. And like I said, the Satisfied Wife Club is in effect and booming because women are yearning they want to be better women. They want to be better wives. And so, yes, this is why it's here. And we have to continue to pour and put panels together like this so that we can feed off each other so that we can become better and becoming one with each other. So, for me, I think that the guy should ease up and figure out a new plan and to at least let his wife have that baby, let her be able to, because I took what Toya said. I came in independent, which means that when this woman dropped the baby and get back in, she's going to be right back at full throttle. She's not going to be a woman that's going to be trying to take off another 2 or 3 years. No, she wants to get right back out there and get busy. So give her some grace, give her some patience and, and all that good stuff. So,
and at the end of the day, when that fails, you need to get coaching.
Exactly.
I think people need to realize that you
coaching.
Need to be environments.
Yes.
And listen, and you don't even have to use us. You can actually, there are churches that have great classes. There's classes even at my church here in Michigan at Brightmoor. There's marriage classes, there's marriage event. Go get the information, go get the help, whatever you can afford, go do it, put the time in. There's books and videos and all types of information out there to help us. We are in the information age. There's no excuse why we can't be learning and growing. Apostle, I'm trying to put you back in here. There you go. I see you. Okay, we have another question. Julie, can you go ahead and tell me that question you have, Julie, is
okay. I have 2 more questions that came in.
Okay.
Are men still willing to marry women who are 35 and up? That's still a virgin and that are still, I assume this, a virgin and wanting to marry before they have sex.
That's a unicorn. Does that even exist anymore?
Actually, there's a lot of us out there.
I don't hear. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. I do these rooms a lot. So here's my thing. Yes, men are always willing to marry. The problem is I wouldn't lead with that unless you're talking to a true, safe, sanctified man. And I'm gonna tell you why. Not only do we have a hypersensitive culture, we have a hypersensitive sexual culture. Yep. And a lot of people, I told y'all earlier, after the 3rd date, we already knocking boots. So I would not lead with I am a virgin. That conversation is going to come up. I think you need to approach it in wisdom, but don't throw that out there. I'm saying I love the Lord. And I'm a virgin. Yep, not gonna call her back. I hate to say this because for guys who have been sexual, who are not spiritual and really sold out to God, they see that as she's not gonna be sexually fun. The problems we talked about tonight about sex, men, that's where their mind is gonna go. Now we're talking about somebody who don't love Jesus, somebody who don't understand. Right? Which is a vast majority of a lot of men who date now. A lot of them claim to know Jesus, but they're not really sold out. So I would say to a woman who is that, yes, you are a hot commodity. You're a unicorn. And I don't mean that as any shaming. You're a unicorn because that's unheard of. You really don't hear anybody above 35 who's still a virgin. It's a great compliment. There are plenty of guys who would want to have that. I would say don't lead with that. I would say wait until the right time to actually express that. That's my way in.
The only person that's going to really respect that is a man of God. Go ahead, Ron.
Right.
And I'm saying there is a lot of guys over there still virgins, and we have found out, even talking to a lot of them, but they're waiting. But the whole key thing is, like, say, using wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And especially now, like these guys out here, Quentin still said it earlier, a woman got to love herself. She don't need to drop her standards at all, period. She needs to keep those standards up. If she a virgin, if my man can't accept, kick his butt out, just flat out. I mean, sorry, but there's too many men that's out there. Number one, are women not being taught far as like these men that's carrying these diseases, that's going to affect our women. And then if they make the mistake and go forward, then what? It's like, oh man, I made a mistake. No, you make no mistake, chump. You went ahead and did what you're supposed to done. Especially, I'm telling you, I'm more sensitive on the women's side because it's hard finding a real good man. It's really hard. They got to go out here. They don't know if the man is a dude or a woman. That's the sad part. And now they got to sit out here, fish around, got to figure out, okay, is this really it? And now she's saving herself, she's waiting and everything else. Then all of a sudden, you find out that this probably is a woman or this is a dude who just loved both, you know? So yeah, I'm just saying, if she a virgin, let her go ahead, not put her like straight on the first date or anything like that, but let her know, hey, I got standards. This is where I'm standing. I am not crossing this boundary. If you want me, you'll wait. And like Toy's sister, she had said something at one of the programs, and she was saying it, and it really blessed me to hear her say that when she talked about waiting. I'm worth the prize. I am worth it. And like I said, that's just me personally, but yeah, if you're a virgin still wait on, sweetie. So I'm telling you, the right man of God is gonna come along. And if he's not saved yet, you pray him saved and stuff like that. And then if he don't decide not to, hey, but don't settle for less. Please don't settle for less.
I would go on to say that the reason why they don't need to know it on the upfront, because most people you're going to date, you're going to have to eliminate them anyway. So, right. I mean, everybody that you sit in front of, you know, when you're out here dating and trying to find someone, you might go through several people that don't even deserve, first of all, they don't even deserve a face. That the conversation on the phone should determine if they should even get a dinner date, right? Yeah. And then once you have a face to face, it should determine if you're going to have a second date. So why does someone need to know all your personal information when they're not even going to be around? So stop trying to give all the information and I'm just going to tell you everything. I just want you to know up front. They don't need to know everything right now. They don't need to know about your past. They don't need to, because right now you're trying to do an elimination process right now. Because if this person ain't saved, if they don't have the basics of standards that you're looking for, why are we even going out on a second date or even a first date? I want to get this other question. We're going to have one more after that, and then we're going to close because we're well over. I was trying to get everybody's question in. Julie, go ahead and get that other question in for me.
Okay. What advice would you give to a single mother of 5 boys who has considered herself a tomboy the majority of her life, but desires to be married?
She need to get her pizzazz back. Get your thing back, girl. Stella got her groove back. You got to get your stuff on. I mean, become feminine. Men don't really like masculine women. And that's why come a lot of women who claim to have a lot of money and are highly successful. A lot of men don't go. That's why a lot of women who are highly successful are single for that very reason. Men listen, you were made with curves for a reason. You were made, seriously, you were made with certain eloquence about you. Use that. And if you've been, a lot of times women who parent a lot of boys end up tomboys, even though they didn't even come up that way, because you're around a lot of masculinity. But you got to get your femininity back. That's what's appealing to men. Men want to see that sensual side. They want to see that you can smell good, look good, you know, those kind of things. And maybe she doesn't know how to do that. So I would say definitely, yes, stuff like Satisfied Wife Clubs, which you need to be connected to. You need to get around some women who can tell you how to be a woman, because maybe through raising so many boys, she forgot her femininity. Maybe she forgot what it is to be feminine.
Right.
That's
and
just
also, well, and no, Pastor, that right there was like right on the money. And then also, just to add to that, you got 5 boys that need to see what a real woman looks like and smells like and acts like and walks like. And remember, we're models. We're literally walking models when you got kids. I got a daughter that's 12 and I got a son that's 17. That's a senior this year. And so I'm this walking model. Me and my wife are both showing. My wife goes out with my son, goes on dates with my son. And I mean, he's dating now, but beforehand, man, she was going out with this dude, making sure he understood, you know what I'm saying? So you do. I agree with the pastor. You got to go ahead and throw that dress back on. You got to get, and this club is probably one of the best things that you can be a part of, because Toya is one of the girliest girls that I know next to
sexiest you gonna find.
Wait a minute. I wasn't saying all that.
That's what he's supposed to say.
I know.
What I'm saying.
You say that about Melissa, boy.
Yeah, right? You know, the sexiest. I'm like, no, that's my sister.
But you know what? You said something, Quentin. There's a difference between your son and your daughter. And there should be a difference. Yes. And listen, there's a way to be cute and tomboyish. Yep. There's a way to dress down in your jogging suit, but still be girly. Yep. You got to get your girl on. And you know what? I'm glad that you asked that, because I have a lady that's going to be joining the Satisfied Wife Club coaching team who is a stylist. And I'm bringing her in to set the record straight when it comes to us looking good and presenting our best self. I need to move to this question, y'all.
Go ahead.
My husband doesn't spend enough time with me or the kids. He's always preoccupied with his sports car, his friends, and video games. What can I do to get him to make us a priority? We've had countless arguments about this.
How old is he?
Yeah.
Hey, let's go back to Pastor, right? One of them blasted millennials.
That's a millennial, ain't he? Ain't no grown man. You say video games.
Well, that's grown men. There's women with men that are 35, 40 and still playing video games. Women are still dealing with
God, that is too funny. I think that sounds like a man that has checked out. That sounds like a man who is not, he's no longer there. Because he's doing all the things a single guy would do in the marital scene.
Yes.
So my question would also be, how long have they been married? That's the other thing I would want to know, because if you're talking about freshly married, some of that may factor in there. But if you're talking about you've been together 20, 30 years, there's some question marks. Counseling is definitely needed, but those are some question marks. That's what I would say. Definitely.
Yeah, because it's going with that type of situations, man, it's really tough because of what the family needs from the husband. Is a lot more than what the world tells us, because they literally place the wives and mothers on this pedestal above all, and it's not really that much light shine on what men actually are supposed to bring to the table a lot of the times. And so when you got situations like this, it is a counseling that's going to be needed, because he could be checked out, and I'm not even saying checked out in the worst way. It's just sometimes, like I said, man, I've been married for a long. If you've been married for a long time, you know that you're resetting every 5 to 6 years. It's like a reset on what we need to do better to be better, right? Yeah, and I guess, and maybe I'm the only one, but in 23 years, every 7 years or so, as a husband, I'm watching the temperature of this house to see when I need to reset things, when I need to up my game on date nights, when I need to do this, because the relationship would just die off. Because I think for me personally, just from mentoring men, I find that men actually feel like they're not adequate enough to actually make and keep one woman satisfied for the rest of their life. And to me,
listen, that's why, listen, you know how many people have asked me, how many men have commented on my post saying, where is the Satisfied Husbands Club? It's not enough for y'all holding environments where men can be trained up. So many men are without fathers, and honestly, I feel sad for them, because they really just don't know. I didn't know how to be a wife because my mother was never a wife. So how could I had to find this stuff out. Well, there are men out here that don't know how to be a husband, don't know how to be a father. They don't know what it looks like, the time that you put in. And so they need more men like you all,
right,
to step up and create these environments that say, hey, because these women right here, and you know what, we're going to talk about this, guys. We're going to talk about this, about coming together. And, you know, I got a lot of wives in the Satisfied Wife Club that need their husbands in groups that they can be alone and get that training and get that help that they really need. It is so needed during this time more than ever. And I know that you, Quentin, do it. I know that Apostle Moses have a club that he does it, you know, and it's time for y'all to come together and start putting this, you know, blasting this thing out and creating a safe place for men to really come and learn and grow. And I think men are the best place Men are the best people to teach this, especially you guys been through the good and the bad and the ugly, had to learn yourselves. But I do
think
have
too, real quick.
Go ahead, Danny.
Real quick, I think what should happen is that she should have a conversation with him about structure in the household. You know, days where you have your time. Like I told my wife when we first met, I had a life before you, you had a life before me. Right. So we structure days where I can go do what I want to do. If it's hanging out with the fellas, go on my boat, get in my car. If I just want to stay at home and watch TV, and vice versa. Whatever she wants to go do, a ladies' night with her girlfriends, go to the restaurant, whatever she wants to do, that's her night to do what she chooses to do, period. And then we have a night where we spend with the kids. We have a night where we do this, and this. So there's actual structure. It's not, if you have no boundaries, no structure or anything like that, it's already in his mind before he even get home from work. I'm getting in my car, I'm gonna wash it, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, that, and the other. And you're not even part of that. Mm-hmm. So you gotta create structure.
But Sean, you said something that a lot of guys don't do. They don't communicate and set structure. Like for an example, you said that you and Toy, when y'all came together, that you had a discussion. In this case, with the guy, this gentleman with this cars and different things like that, his thing is to steal the man set of pride and the pride that he stays in. Whereas, did he ever get a chance to really come, number one, talk to his wife and talk about the things that he likes to do? Number two, does she actually engages with him in the things that he like as well as her? Number three, even spending time with the children, the quality time, which has to be another thing that has to be addressed as well too. So when you think about it with what you and Toy, which is excellent, and if every man can have a conversation, you know, saying like, hey, this, and even me time, like my wife, she got to have her me time by herself. Am I mad about that? Absolutely not. I'm like, go to the store, go around and shop, do what you got to do. But it has to be communication in there. So when you communicate about that, then those things can be resolved. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm. Another big problem in relationships too, Ron, with men especially, is that we think because we financially take care of the household is taken care of.
Yes. Say that.
That right there, I think
Preach.
is that is where it gets tricky. And this all falls back on the way that we're teaching or not being taught, right?
Right.
Because when you think that we're taught that old school way, that's really what old school teaching is, right? Pops makes all the money, he pays all the bills. With that, that is my contribution of love, support, hanging out with the kids. Like that's all I do, all of that when I put that money in the bank and pay all of these bills. And that's an old school thinking. And this just kind of goes what Pastor Moses was saying, which is Apostle Moses was saying, is that as the generations change and the culture starts to press on our kids, and then you got this 80% of fathers that are at home, that are not in homes, and all of these numbers from the statistics starts adding up, then we find ourselves in a pickle because no one actually knows exactly what they're doing. And so for men, the house could be burning right on our back. I could look at you and say, dude, you got fire in your back. I'm going to throw this fire extinguisher. And men will go, no, I'm good. Yeah, I'm gonna run back here and get that water and I'm gonna put the fire out. And it's like, so I'm here already to help you. And because basically it's really, this just goes back to that ego thing. We don't want to appear to be inferior or weak to other men. And it's not that you're weak. Like the strongest man asks for help.
Yeah.
The strongest man asks for help. Like, and this is just me. I feel like I'm talking to myself right now, right? Because, you know, me and the Banks, our boys go to school together, and you're sending these boys out on the thing. And I'm telling my son, the worst thing that you could do when you go away to college is try to live your life without coming to me to get the pathway. Yes. Like it's the dumb thing to do that. Like it's dumb to go to school and then try to figure your way out. But let me tell you what's more dumb is that we as parents and men, that's how we send our boys out. Hey, go out there and make your own way. You figure it out, big dog. You could do your thing there. So now you're sending this dude out there and he's lived his entire life with this mentality. And now he's got to go get a woman, have some kids, and the mentality is all off. So we want something that we don't even do properly. we don't even do it. And I know this because I mentor, now it's been hundreds of guys I've talked to, man, over the years. And this is our mentality. Yeah, my son, he a good man. He'll figure it out. It's like, no, he shouldn't be trying to figure it out. You're the pathway. Listen, father, you're the pathway. He shouldn't be trying to figure it out. Your daughter should not be trying to figure out how to make and move along and shake. But then we have platforms like this that you find out that we're literally just sending people out to try to figure out their own way, and no one is taking responsibility to do it. So now you have to do it later in life, and people don't want to hear it. Women are very, like Pastor Mo said, women want to know. Like women want to know.
They need you more now than they did when they were kids.
Yeah, but this is the thing I find out. Like, I don't care how bad a woman could be. She could be like a terror at the house, but she'll show up to the wife satisfied club to figure out how to be better, right? It's just different. Women just think different. It's like, I know I'm a terror, but man, I'm gonna come to this club every week until no, this is real talk. Like, this is something that's real.
You're
because
right.
me and my wife, we counsel people. And so I found out that women could be terrors, like nightmare. And they'll be like, yeah, but I need help. Can you just show me how? And you like, you didn't listen to me last time. I know I didn't, but I still need to be better. Guys are just not that way. We just, hey, I'm good, whatever. And exactly. It's like, I'm a wing this boy. So then we end up with these situations like this that just doesn't have to happen to me. I think somebody put on here a good question. I meant to tell it to you, Toy. Oh, one lady said on here, my husband sees this as control. Why? When it's basically order and balance. So what we're talking about, a husband normally looks at as control. And you know why, Miss Lady? It's because basically you saying it, right? So when a man hear a woman say it, it sounds like control. This is when I talk about a man creating this environment, is because if he create the environment, then the woman will never have to come back here to try to create nothing, and it won't come off as control.
She's doing it in the meantime, Quentin. She has to, this is where the Holy Spirit comes in. This is why this is a faith-based club. You may be in a situation where your husband don't know, he's unlearned. Right. And you, until you can get that coaching, until you can get him in an environment, and I would encourage you to, start getting into environments, going to events at the church, going to events where other married couples are going to be. Exactly. And listen, I know in my household, I met friends who I like their husbands that was going to be a good fit with my husband. And now they're all friends and buddies. They go down on this boat. They go this way. They go on golf trips. They do all types of stuff. And they're all saved men. But that was me saying, hey, I want to create a community of people around my marriage that's going to be a blessing and not a hindrance. But in the meantime, until your husband knows that, you need the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Because listen, Jesus said in 1 Peter 3 that if you so bad that if you put the Holy Spirit on, that without a word, that husband who doesn't have the word can be drawn to Christ. And that's a skill that we teach here in the Satisfied Wife Club that you have to use. So there's different principles that we share with you on how to do that. But prayer, depending on the Holy Spirit and enacting these principles and living out the word, is going to be the ultimate transformation. I got this last question and I know we got to go. Tracy Winston was like, keep this going. Tracy was like, no, don't end this, Troy. Keep this going. So they're enjoying it. And Chris, I want you to be the first one to answer this question here. It says, I'm dating a guy. I want to go back to the single women. I'm dating a guy who's not as strong as I am in the faith. We've slipped up and had sex a couple of times and I feel horrible. But he acts like it's not a big deal. We've talked about marriage a couple times, but there's no urgency on his part. He's a good man, works and has his own place, but his relationship with God is not really there. He prays when I pray. I never see him in the word, and he'll go to church when I ask him, but that's it. Am I wasting my time, or should I consider hanging in there, hoping for change? By the way, I'm 39 years old. He's 43.
Yeah.
We got it clear. Go ahead.
Yeah. To me, I always say, don't date a fixer-upper. You want a man that is going to lift you up. So if you think about 39, I understand. You can go like, you go, my biological clock is ticking and we got to get this thing going or I'm going to die lonely and I don't want to do that. Right. Well, honey, you haven't felt lonely until you're married 15 years and going to church all alone, begging for your husband just to come to Easter. And I know that seems so short-sighted because all these feelings are coming from the short-sightedness. You're not seeing it in the long term, and I think to me, what you're looking for is you come back to the word is Ephesians 5 says that a man, the guy you want to find is a guy that's going to love you like Christ loved the church. And you just follow the train of thought where scripture says that he's to lead you by washing you in the word, lifting you up as spotless and blameless before his Father. Now, just point blank, we already know that's not happening. He's not lifting you up. And so what that means is he's robbing you of your potential. He's robbing you of where, again, what, in my opinion, the guys, our leadership is servant leadership, where we're getting underneath a woman to springboard her into the beauty and the joys of all of life. And as she's springing, a man's accomplishing. Go back to the video games. The reason video games are addicting and your husband's checked out is because there's an accomplishment to a video game. There's no adventure in the marriage, right? So I think, to me, I understand that it's going to be very, very hard in the short term. Okay. But that's where what us, faith-based Christians, right? We say we're going to have faith. What's faith? It's looking back on the promises of God and holding tight to those things. Mm-hmm. And so if God has put marriage in your heart, if God has put, look, you didn't put that desire in your heart, right? God, it says, man, seek him first and he will give you the desires of your heart, right? And so if you put a man above God, it's a disappointment, right? And so to me, I would say, in my mind, God's got someone better for you. Better, a guy that is going to lift you up and that is going to be a springboard for you to wash you or lift you up to be holy and blameless. And in my opinion, and I would take this to the bank, is that he's a fixer-upper, he's a project. And I have two boys, okay? I don't have daughters, but if I had daughters, I would be like, Hunt, you are way, way, way more valuable than that. You don't want to be dragging his butt around, right? You want a guy to be leading you and springboarding you and being there sacrificing for you.
Chris,
Okay.
I agree with you 100%. I just want to say this real quick. I'm a builder by trade.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important for a woman to build a relationship with somebody who can lift her up, like you said. If she's building a relationship with this guy, she'll never get the guy that God has for her because she'll be too busy trying to pick up the pieces of that foundation as it's crumbling up under her. Mm-hmm. If she builds a relationship with the guy that God's had for her, a guy that's a God-fearing man who can grow with her, it'll be a strong foundation and they'll build something that'll stand the test of time. Mm-hmm. But with this guy, she's going to always be trying to fix the foundation because she's always going to have foundation issues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he doesn't even have
the reason why he doesn't care and it's not important to him that they had sex is because he really doesn't care.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the fact that she feels a certain way about it, the Holy Spirit's letting her know that already when she's asking that question.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, go ahead, Apostle.
Yeah, I want, because I don't know if y'all seen the back channel, but someone says, I don't know if it's the same person, but they were saying pretty much that she's afraid to let him go because she's 39. And then because of pretty much he was good sexually, she's unable to let him go. Here's what I'm saying. This goes back to this is millennials. This is what I'm talking about. Okay. Sex is so good that you can't leave. This goes back down to what I forgot what he said. What Quentin, what Q said. You have no self-worth. See, these women, and then this whole good guy thing. So now, not only is a thug a good guy, but now the guy who can lay down the pipe. Now we're Christians. but we're having sex before marriage, and he's still a good guy. He's still a Christian, loves the Lord, but he having sex before marriage. This is what the norm is now. This is what the norm is. If you don't have sex before marriage, like you can test drive and still be saved, sanctified, and love Jesus. Like this is what we're teaching people. This is the problem. Your standard is not biblical.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Right.
And so with the real issue that we're really talking, because I want women to really hear what's being said. Yeah. Every man has pretty much said the same thing, but I'm going to bring it so you can really like see it. This is not a good guy. He's not, I wouldn't even call this guy someone who, and this is why I'm saying there's a difference between being a Christian and being someone who really is sold out for Jesus. That's the problem. And that's the problem I have with Christianity. Lord Jesus, help me.
Preach.
I have this problem. Because with Christianity, anything goes.
Yes.
You cannot say you love Jesus and have no standards.
Nope.
Right.
And the grace message has done more damage than good because, and I know people teach it, I get it, but it's not taught in a balanced way. People think because you got grace, you can sin and I'm covered. If you are 39 and you came across this guy, there are 8.5 billion people on the planet. Find somebody else.
Right.
Find somebody else.
You got choices.
You got options. And,
Right.
and the mindset you're going in when you think that you don't have options says something. And I'm going to say this, I'm going to let it go. What Pastor Chris says, it says something about you as a woman. What is it about you that you think that God loves you so less that he only gave you to a man who sees you as a play toy and not even a real option? I'll digress.
But before you even digress, I just want to say this too. And this is real quick. Pastor Chris said in the first time he spoke was the perfect information. Ladies, when you build that strong relationship with Christ, you'll get what Pastor Moses is saying. Like, you don't get so caught up in trying to present yourself to some dude. We're not even worthy of that. Like, we're not even worthy of you trying to present yourself to us without you presenting yourself to Christ first and getting yourself together, because then the boundaries, the self-esteem, the character, all that stuff is going to be there. And then now you become someone who knows that A, B, and C is either good for me or not good for me. But Pastor Chris said that, and I wanted to get in when he first said it. And I was like, that's the part that's missing. But that's the part that I love about what Toya is doing, because that's what she's trying to teach, is that building a relationship with Christ helps you understand being worth more than rubies. Like, you're not going to get that from a man. A guy is not going to be able to tell you that in case he has built a relationship with Christ. He's not going to even be able to tell you, or he can't even fathom to how to even explain to you how to springboard you ahead if he doesn't have a relationship with Christ, a sold out relationship with Christ, not a Christian. I'm with you, Pastor Moses. I am sick of, like, I don't even tell people I'm a Christian. I'm like, dude, I love God. Like, I love God. I love his principles. I love his values. Because Christianity now, we're just showing it. We're performing. We're not living holy. We're performing. Everything is a performance, and people's lives are at stake. People's souls are being destroyed and damaged because we're performing Christianity and salvation instead of living out the way that God does. And that doesn't mean that we're not going to make mistakes and stuff, but that's what our brothers and sisters are here for, to be able to help us, not condemn each other, but we're here to help. This platform is listen, I told Toya, I'm back in action, put me back in, coach, because this is where it's at. When we can sit down here and I can listen to, Chris, I can listen to Sean and Moses and all these guys, I'm getting nuggets so that I'm married, right? So I got to take stuff and I want to be better. So this kind of platform this is where the juice is at. This is what we get, we get everything going right here. So that was really good, Chris. That's a big piece.
Well, thank you so much. Listen, if you are a husband listening in and your wife is not a part of the Satisfied Wife Club, this is the best thing that you can invest in on a monthly basis. It's less than, what is it? A cracker, the cost of a cracker every day. I mean, that's how cheap it is. It's only $19 a month. I mean, seriously. And it's going up in mid-March. So I just need y'all to know, you better get in before it goes up. Now, I want to say this last question because they have it here and I don't want to dishonor the person who put this up, but let's make this answer real quick so we can get out of here because we're well over the time, guys. Okay, how do you all as husbands feel about hanging out or attending functions with single friends without inviting the wife?
First of all, if you married, birds of a feather flock together. So matter of fact, all of my friends are married cats. I'm not hanging out with the single dudes because I can't do what they do, right? Most single guys go to bars and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to no bar. I'm too old for that. You know what I mean? I'm doing old people stuff. I'm going to the marina. I'm going to Florida. I'm doing stuff like that where couples go. There's no reason for a husband to be hanging out with his single friends while his wife is sitting at home. Let you go hang out with your single girlfriends and see how he feel about that.
Well, but here's the thing. I have a couple single friends, but my single friends respect my marriage and they're truly saved, sanctified, and filled with the Holy Spirit. So
but
you gotta
stuff too, though.
Right they into what I'm into, right?
They're not so
they into what I'm into. So I don't think it's necessarily if he's single. The bigger picture is what is his character? What is his integrity of the friends that he's around? Do they love and support your marriage? Are they men of God? Do they have common thoughts and ideas and integrities? But I'll let the guys answer that. Go ahead, Chris. I see that.
Yeah, so one of the things is my wife is my best friend, and we do things together. And to me, I was a college pastor for 11 years, so I was always out with single dudes. But one of the things is that my wife would come with me all the time because, well, if my friends are loving me and I love my wife the most, well, then they're going to want her around. And anything that a single dudes are doing that, we don't want girls around for that. I mean, there's some like dude nights, things like that are like off cuff and random. But for the most part, if you're constantly going out with single dudes doing things that we don't want girls around for, generally your marriage is going to be pretty bad anyway. So that is like if you're really, go back to the counseling bit. If your joy is away from your wife, oh man, because I want my wife to experience my friends with me, because I want my friends to love my wife and my wife to love me and them to love us together. Remember, the two become one.
One, right.
So it's like the Chris and Tracy show all the time, everywhere. And naturally, there are moments like that it's like, well, we are going to go do this or go do that or whatever. But the conversation is not, well, this is a norm that I'm always going to be hanging out with my single friends. You know what I mean? Like It's more of a norm for my wife to be with us, in my single friends, And so to me, I think that, there's some perspective with that.
Yeah, and I think it's important that there's balance, right? Because I'm gonna tell you something. Men can be bugaboos and wives can be bugaboos. They think that their spouse cannot go anywhere without them. No, I want you to listen to what Chris said. Pastor Chris said, there are times when there's just a guy thing. The wife shouldn't even want to go. Like, I don't want to be with him and his friends all the time. You gotta give each other space, though. You gotta give each other time to just be with your friends. I think the question is more so is you don't trust those friends. Because if you trust those friends, if you were comfortable with those friends, you wouldn't even be asking these questions. I think you don't trust his friends.
Or trust him with his friends.
Trust him with his friends, right?
Trust him with his friends.
With his friends, because she don't trust the integrity or the character of those friends.
Yeah.
And everybody knows. Show me your friends, I'll show you your future. Lay down with dogs, you wake up with fleas. We all know that whatever you hang around, that mess gonna be rubbed off on you, and you're gonna come home with this crap. So, if there's anybody else want to say anything on that, and then we're gonna close.
Yeah. I think your husband kind of hit on this earlier when he was talking about, being able to connect and those kind of things. This is an issue that a lot of women run into and a lot of men end up running into as well. But yeah, I would say if you have a married man who wants to hang around single people, is he really married? I don't know if I would really call that a marriage.
Right.
because he's not there. And I think the real part is too, the other part I look at too is these are probably single friends who were with him pre-marriage. And now that he's married, they are now still in the picture. That's it. That could be problematic. Your husband said it earlier. Your wife is your first. I think this question brought up earlier, but your wife is, we're a family first. And Q said this too. We're a family first. It's not your family and then my family is a family. We all family. No, we family. Then them and them. And if none of them get along, we got this, right? A man who is hanging out with single friends has not got the mindset that we are one. And that marriage is never going to get to oneness until he gets on board to being the head and realize my wife is before everything else, even for your kids, even for your wife is for your kids, because them kids gonna leave. Right. I'm still gonna be with her. You hear what I'm saying? And so that has to, that all plays a role in that as well. So that's what I'm
about to go into a whole nother conversation with them dang on kids, Apostle. That's a whole nother fight right there. That's a whole nother conversation that we can go into. The little people don't go and abandon you. They're going to fall in love with somebody, have their own kids, and you're going to be left alone if you put the little people over your spouse. It doesn't happen. Okay. So listen, we need to close out, y'all. I want to thank all my guests, but I want to give them an opportunity for you to follow what they're doing, to take advantage of some of the things that they're doing. So I'm going to go with Quentin, share with them how they can stay in touch, telling them about your podcast and all that great stuff.
First of all, thank you again, Toy, Sean, for allowing me to come on here and just share some of my opinions and my thoughts around relationship. It's been a great time. It was great meeting Pastor Chris and you, Apostle Moses. It was great. But you guys can get with me if you want to follow. Me and my wife have a podcast called The Relationship Decoded. We're on all the social, the digital platforms for that podcast, and it's just one word: Relationship Decoded. And then I have a men's podcast called the Manology Project Podcast, and on there we're just talking about everything that about men. How we do, from our integrity, our values, how we be better husbands, to be better friends, to be better fathers, et cetera, et cetera. And then I also own Save Period, as you can see back here, my apparel company, and that's just Save Period, www.saveperiod.com, and it's an online store. And that's pretty much it. And hey, and if you do listen to the podcast, please leave back some feedback or some things that, you guys really gave me a lot of topics. I can't wait to go upstairs to talk to the wife, because I got like 2 years worth of topics out of this. It was great. Chris and Pastor Moses, hopefully y'all got your lines open. I'm going to be reaching out. So we can build a great relationship as men. I would love to have you guys on my podcast if you would join me, man, and just drop some of that knowledge. Thank you again, Toy.
Listen, you need to start sharing. I'll talk to you tomorrow about it, but you need to start sharing some of your episodes in our private Satisfied Wife group. I would love for them to really listen in on that. So I'm gonna start sharing that in the group. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Yep.
And we gotta get, me and my husband gotta get a sweater. We gotta get a sweater. So we gotta get that right.
Yeah, Sean.
Quentin, look, man, the only reason why we had you on is because you got that Incredible Hulk poster behind you. If you want to come back on and you want us to share your stuff, you bring that poster with you next time I see you.
I hear you, bro.
All right, Pastor Chris, let them know how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, I'm a pastor, Unite Community Church. We have one church in Wyandotte, Michigan, one church in Saline, Michigan. And so, just, Unite Community Church anywhere on social media. You can reach out anytime, to just look up Unite Community Church, and that's where I'm at. That's the main thing. I love partnering with Toy and the Satisfied Wife Club. Our church is planning to do, events with her, and she comes and preaches at our church. So we're just partnered up, and I try to serve her in this ministry the best we can, I'm just running a church. So jump in if you're ever around. Come visit us. It's super fun. You know, I love the church. That's like my call is I want to build the church and create ways for people to connect to Jesus. So anyway, and then in that, you know, a big probably niche in our church is, man, we want real people to have great relationships, great marriages.
Well, Pastor Chris is amazing. I've been out at their church. Their community was really accepting to the Satisfied Wife message. They was like, bring her back. So I love being out there. There's some great people. Yeah. And I got to wear jeans. I love when I could go to a church and dress down. It was fun. It was exciting.
Yeah.
It was really great. All right. So Apostle Moses, tell them how they can get in touch with you.
Actually, you could just go to KOK Embassy. So KOK in the EMB as in boy, ASSY.org. KOK Embassy. And if you go to Kingdom Institute, which is, I can't wait. We are rolling this out in August. I can't wait because I get a chance to do what I love to do, which is actually teach people kingdom, everything that deals with kingdom. One of the 2 courses that we actually have posted on there are actually more courses coming. One is fatherhood in the kingdom. So teaching men how to be fathers. So we deal with things like the male versus the man, the function of a father, like we deal with all of that. And then the other one is kingdom husband. What is it to be a kingdom husband? Walking that out scripturally and practically. Now, y'all heard me talk tonight. I'm very practical, but I'm also, and I try not to bring this tonight, which I did good. I'm very contextual, meaning I'm very scriptural. So your husband, if you don't know how to be a husband, not just a husband, but a kingdom husband, which is different than what I see a lot of these folks being, get them to sign up for the course, man. Definitely had them come through. I definitely want to connect with Q and any man that's doing anything with men, because this is like, I know we in a pandemic, but this is an epidemic. Because we have men that don't know how to be men. We really, I mean, and we don't have a safe place to go. I'm also in the process of creating this. Toy's been on me about this, but we definitely in the process of creating it this year. We're going to be creating actually a men hub for men to come together and talk about real men issues for men, by men, to men. Ain't no woman allowed to come. It's just all for men. Because I really want to help. One of the biggest issues I've had in our church, and I too am a pastor. Our services are on Saturdays and Tuesdays. One of the things I've come across so much is marriage is not working. And it's happened so much. I told my wife, I said, listen, baby, I know we're doing a lot, but we have got to recreate what this is. And that's really why we are tackling manhood. The biggest issue I found out, though, it's not really it's some of the women, but not a lot of women. It's the men that I'm finding out who do not know how to actually be leaders. And so I have a burden in my heart for men. So if you have a husband, if you're dating a guy who you feel like he may be, send him to Kingdom Institute. I'm going to train him. So the course is designed to, we're actually giving you practical steps in what you need to be looking for, how to apply scripture, and how to model and walk that out. So thanks again, and connect to Satisfied Wives Club. I love Ms. Toy Banks. I do a lot with her. I was able to meet her husband tonight, which I'm so glad about. Thank you, Q. Thank you, Pastor Chris. I know Ron is going to watch this on replay. Thank you as well. I'm always honored. And this is the only club. Let me say this and I'll shut up. This is the only club I do outside of stuff that we do. So I want to make that clear. So if you want to find me, I will be here in the SWC. All right. Thank you.
Apostle Moses, I just want to say, man, it was a pleasure meeting you for the first time.
No, this every Monday.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Apostle Moses, I just want to say it was a pleasure meeting you for the first time, and I've enjoyed your company. I've enjoyed your company as well, Pastor Chris. I always look forward to seeing you, and I look forward to doing great things with you guys as well.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're talking about CEO of Banks Construction, the baddest builder in the D, baby, in the D. Okay, if you have needs here in the D,
I help build relationships. How about that?
Listen, this man is beast mode. He's beast mode when it comes to building, and so you talking about room additions, kitchens, bathrooms, basements, houses. He done built houses from ground up, from foundation up. He's absolutely amazing. So if you got some money, you call him. If you don't call him. Okay. All right. Because he got a wife and kids to take care of. All right. All right. Listen, I want to say this to the coaches. Thank you so much for sticking in here. We went over an hour. And the reason why we did this is because we felt a hunger and a need. And so as you guys can see, all of the coaches they understand the need that is present in our world. Listen, if you take a look at our world, it doesn't look like we're winning as believers. Our kids are up under attack. Our marriages are up under attack, and the church as a whole is under attack. We're not going to win this thing sitting on the sideline, staying in a place of ignorance. Right. This is what the Satisfied Wife Club is all about. Giving you wisdom, not just as a wife, right? So we want you to be solid in your marriage. We want you to know how to, serve your husband, respect and honoring him as unto the Lord, and also be able to create that peace within yourself. We want to do all of that, but we also want your kids great. We also want you to fulfill God's purpose and plan for your life. We also want you to be healthy in your mind and your spirit. This is why we have this. This is just a few of our coaches. We have 20 supporting coaches in the Satisfied Wife Club that come in and teach you on all different areas. Why? Because we know that we all need community. God said, fitly joined together, we build up the body of Christ. I'm not the jack of all trades. I can't do what Apostle Moses does. I can't do what Pastor Chris does, or Quinn. I can't even do what my husband does. I know that we need a community in order to grow. And if you want to be part of a great community that is advancing and growing, you want to join us at www.satisfiedwifeclub.com. Ladies, we have one more week. One more day. Next Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern time zone. It's the next time I am going to see you all for our final session of the 28-day challenge entitled Influence. And I can't wait to see you there. Put it on your calendar, set your alarms, because I am about to take this whole influence level. You want to take your influence like to the sky, to the moon. This last session is going to help you and teach you and give you principles on how to really walk truly in your authority and your power to influence every area of your life. Thank you again for joining us. Thank you for the men that are here. I see Nicholas. I see you here, sir. Thank you for joining us. I know that I can't see the screen right now, but I just want to thank all the gentlemen that tuned in and appreciate you. We want you to know that the Satisfied Wife Club supports men. We do not down men. We do not disrespect men. As a matter of fact, the wives know in the Satisfied Wife Club, they come in here talking down their husbands. They come in here disrespecting their husband. We're going to stop the whole conversation. We're going to kill that right there, because I'm not for your wife and I'm not for you. I'm for the marriage as a whole. Our goal is to help you get to that place of satisfaction in Christ in your marriage. That's what we do. So I just want you to know this is a safe place for your wife or even your future wife. So thank you again for joining us. I'm your girl, Mrs. Toy Banks, the world's most satisfied wife, with my amazing husband,
the world's most satisfied husband.
Woo-hoo! Good night, everybody. Thank y'all for joining us. God bless you. This session was hot like butter. The replay will be up in the 28-day challenge group page on Facebook. So if you're not a part of that, go and get registered right now. It's free to join that group. We put the replays there. So go ahead and get that. You'll see that sometime tomorrow. All right, y'all. Good night. Have a good night. Thanks, guys.
Hey, pull up a picture of where did we go? There was a guest on there last night. I want to see if it was one of my relatives.
Good night, the Banks family. Thank you for this platform, everyone. This was wonderful. God bless you.
Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Love you. God bless.
God bless. Y'all have a good night.